Hey guys, and how about we watch Carnage vs. Lucy Death Battle? Okay, I want to clear up one thing. Only one person probably knows about this. When I did my base, I want to call it research into Lucy, I did watch the first episode of Elfen Lied. I think the person who said this was technically right. You see basically everything Lucy is capable of in the first episode. Basically. At least all of her abilities. But it was very easy for me to misinterpret the information. I thought she had telekinesis, but it turns out she doesn't. She just has invisible arms coming out of her. Carnage. Carnage is basically Venom, but I want to say a little bit better. Of course, I don't have much evidence backing that up. I know he's made with the same symbiote, so I guess I just assume he would be equal or greater. Given those two facts, and given how ridiculous Venom was, I do believe that Carnage will probably win. I'll wait until I actually hear about the characters themselves and see if Lucy has any other tricks other than just, the vectors, as they're called. If she does, she has a chance. Otherwise, I don't know if she does. I don't think she really does. But yeah, we'll see. Again, I think Carnage at the moment, but I could be right, could be wrong, I don't really know. Either way, let's start our show.
Hey everybody, we have a brand new Death Battle t-shirt on the ScrewAttack/Rooster Teeth store. Head to store.roosterteeth.com and you guys can pick one up. It's a great way to support the show.
It's not bad, I don't know. I'm iffy on that one shirt. I'm moving my chair arms back.
If my
They got in the way.
have taught me anything, it's that there's no real limit to crazy.
What?
Marvel's dangerously insane psychopath.
Or Lucy, the messed
Where did
up
he
murder
find these
lady
movie
from
clips?
Elfen Lied.
Elfen
Also-
Lied. It's German.
Yeah, whatever.
Lied.
He's whizzed
I thought
out
so.
most
I
things.
really
And
thought
it's
so.
our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win a death battle.
So it is 2D animation. I mean,
Cletus
it's not
Cassidy
actual
didn't have the chance to
full
be a
2D
well-adjusted
animation, it's
adult
sprite
because his
animation.
entire family was already crazy. While Cletus
Oh,
was
I
just
see.
a boy, his father got sent to jail for killing his mother.
Which he did because she had tried to kill Cletus.
Which she did because Cletus had tortured and killed her dog Fifi.
Well, go Miss
Huh.
Cassidy. All dog murderers deserve death, even if they're 8. Right, Jack Spaniels? Good boy. Oh, and Cletus murdered his grandma too, because she's kind of a bitch.
He didn't stop there and wound up burning down his own orphanage. Years later, he was finally arrested and convicted for 11 murders.
You mean the 11 murders they knew about?
But while in prison, Cletus found that he wasn't alone. In fact, his cellmate just so happened to be Eddie Brock.
Who you may know is that creepy guy covered in black ink called Venom.
That ink is actually a symbiotic alien known as a Clintar. This symbiote bonded with Eddie, transforming him into a powerful and violent rival for the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
But what Eddie didn't know was, it was pregnant.
I don't think that's how it works.
Well, symbiotes actually reproduce asexually. When
Yeah.
Eddie became Venom once again, the symbiote sort of oozed out its spawn and left it there.
Just like me and my dad. Well, this new symbiote immediately attached itself to Cletus, but unlike the Venom one, it merged through a cut on his skin, creating this suit made out of blood.
Oh, it's actually made out of blood.
Seems sanitary.
And together they
Oh.
became Carnage.
A fitting name for a psycho mass murderer. Cletus and his new symbiote quickly got up to what they knew best, creating maximum carnage. For that game, it was great.
And with his new superpowers,
Perfect
he was a
union with
vicious force
Cletus.
to be reckoned with. He has the same superhuman
They do not
strength, speed, and
disagree with
durability
each other.
as Venom, and supposedly even greater, like a Venom 2.0.
He can shapeshift
Yeah.
to make all sorts of killer weapons, like axes, swords, and spikes. He can even rip those weapons off himself or launch them at his victims. Have you ever tried ripping your fingers off and throwing them at people?
No, that's not a good idea.
Kind of what Carnage does.
The symbiote can also reach out with dozens of chaotic, blood-soaked tendrils, perfect for strangling the people he doesn't want to see anymore. With a single touch, Carnage can
feel like I was
infect a
saying
person
something
with a
earlier.
portion of his symbiote, controlling or torturing them at his
Oh
will.
my-
He has
oh,
unbelievable
oh.
regeneration, and even if somebody finds a way to disable his suit, the Carnage symbiote
Disable?
lives inside his bloodstream and can come back out through something as meager as a paper cut.
Also, the symbiote literally sees everything around it. It's kind of like wearing a suit made of eyeballs.
But let's say you're able to dodge his projectiles, outrun the tendrils, and get out of sight from the eyeball suit. You're still not safe. He will catch you, because he can sprout wings and fly.
What the hell? Since when?
Since realizing that shapeshifting is a really useful ability.
So he's able to fly, he's totally aware of everything around him, and he's full of blood? This guy's like a giant mosquito of death.
Sure.
What?
Carnage has said
Yeah,
he's
that's
at least
weird.
10 times faster than the average man. But that's pretty modest, because Venom has shown he can move fast enough to catch up to a bullet after it's fired. And Carnage is frequently shown to be as fast or even faster than him. This puts Carnage over 1,500 miles per hour, over twice the speed of sound.
He's lifted a 50-ton tank, and he can overpower Spider-Man, whose best supported strength feat was lifting that giant machine thing that weighed as much as a 1965 locomotive.
Which would put it around 130 tons.
And you know those weird tendril things crawling around his body? When he wanted to find a missing journalist in New York, he climbed to the top of the Empire State Building and just stretched them all out over the city.
He found her
Why
by
do
this coastline,
people
and
want
this
Carnage
building nearby
versus
looks a lot
Alex
like the
Mercer?
Consolidated Edison plant between 14th and 15th Street.
I think people-
That's about 2 miles
I think
away.
people overestimate Alex Mercer because of the potential of his powers, despite the fact that he doesn't do as much as, like, Carnage with his
Hey, he was
powers.
fine.
He just
Carnage's
doesn't.
durability doesn't come from a sturdy build. Instead, his form is malleable and somewhat fluid. Technically, his human body still exists somewhere in that mass of blood, flesh, and writhing tentacles, but even when he's hit by a train, struck by missiles, or blasted apart by a tritium bomb, he can always just pull himself back together.
As long as there's a piece of him still around. Given the size of that blast, it looks like Carnage survived a blast worth 125 tons of TNT.
Very impressive. Also,
Interesting
he once smothered and
estimate.
survived
I'm
the
curious
gene bomb
about-
designed to wipe out all of humanity except mutants.
He's even survived
Well, I
being
mean,
ripped
if
in
it's
half and thrown
not
into
supposed to
space.
kill mutants,
Seriously,
then-
what kills this guy?
Well, he does share the same weaknesses as other symbiotes, namely extremely loud noises and heat.
Well, until he traded the sound one for a weakness against some Cthulhu-looking magic.
Carnage has been through a lot, but with 2 minds as one, he always gets back up to keep doing what he loves.
So,
Murder, murder, and, you know, more murder.
yeah.
Carnage is chaos!
Why does he have such a high-pitched voice?
There are some mysteries the world holds which no one is meant to know.
Anyway,
Every
movie
day,
clips,
something, someone
I appreciate
comes ever
people telling
closer
me
to
what they are.
destroying everything you hold dear.
To be fair, I won't
One such
watch
secret
the movies,
is the
but
Dicloni.
No big deal.
sometimes I'm
There's
curious.
some crazy people who want to infect human beings to make more Dicloni and then wipe out all of humanity.
Sounds
Oh,
about
look at the
right.
Cute little horns. They look like kitty ears.
To accomplish this, the Dicloni would have to rely on their queen, Carnage, better known as Lucy.
Luckily for everyone, some important people figured this out and captured her. And now it's time for your only warning.
Right, Lucy's methods...
Oh, she's left-handed. Interesting.
Let's just say they're not for the faint of heart.
And let's also say that those lucky important people were about to get very, very unlucky.
I am very unlucky. Oh, very unlucky.
Jesus Christ, what's happening?
To truly understand, let's take a step back. As an infant, Lucy was abandoned by her parents and left alone to suffer a life of constant discrimination.
It was the horns, wasn't it?
Right, even the average kid hates growing up in an orphanage, but it was especially painful for her.
Until she found a stray puppy and decided to take care of it. That adorable little critter and her became best friends. And then the other kids from the orphanage went out and beat it to death. And
Oh.
forced her to watch.
Oh, God. Why would children
Well, no
do
shit,
this?
She wants to kill everyone. Go ahead, Lucy. Tear up those little bastards.
Oh, she does.
Oh. Damn.
This was the first time Lucy unleashed her psychokinetic vectors. As a Diclonius queen, Lucy is meant to use these vectors to infect ordinary human beings with the Diclonius virus.
Oh, but she uses them for so much more.
For simplicity's sake, think of the vectors as invisible arms which can sprout from Lucy's back.
Lucy can use up to 28 vectors with a normal range of about 6 to 7 feet. When she gets really serious, her horns grow and the vectors get way longer and stronger.
She can vibrate her
Oh my
vectors at
God.
different frequencies, and each level of vibration has different effects.
Kinda like that thing that my ex-wife had on the nightstand that I thought was one of those crazy pens.
At low frequencies, her vectors
That-
can pass through objects with no effect. At a medium frequency, the vectors become solid, like extendable hands, while still completely invisible. These can be used as shields and lift heavy objects.
Oh man, if I had those things, I'd be messing with people all the time, like tying their shoes from across the room. Also, since this seems to be a thing in this episode, she can fly.
It's not
Okay.
really flying, she's just lifting herself off the ground. With the third frequency,
But
Lucy
still.
turns her vectors into invisible blades. These can cut through people and bend metal.
Bend
With
metal.
the last and highest frequency, Lucy gets explosive.
What?
No, really. At this level, they finally become visible and can strike with enough force to detonate. Damn, they don't call this chick the queen.
That
for
is the
nothing.
size of an
Unfortunately,
island.
Lucy is not always in control of what she does. Turns out she has developed several alternate personalities.
Several.
Yeah, getting shot
I thought there were
can do
two.
that to ya.
That injury specifically created New, a passive, almost childlike persona which exists as a coping mechanism for Lucy's trauma. As New, Lucy would finally find friends, and began forging a path toward hopeless redemption.
Unlike her third personality, the so-called DNA voice, which constantly whispers in her ear that she's got a job to do. Kill them all, Lucy, before they hurt more puppies. Ooh, I'm spooky DNA.
She could do it too. Lucy's fast enough to block bullets from a point-blank range. And once, she actually saved herself from a bullet after she had already been shot.
I'm sorry?
As in, while the bullet was traveling between her skin and her heart.
It looks like she's getting shot by an MP5, which fires
I'm
bullets
sorry.
at nearly 900 miles per hour.
Are you...
With her body type, the distance between Lucy's skin and heart is less than an inch, probably around 2.4 centimeters. Given the bullet speed and the distance her vector would have to reach from her back before the bullet hit her heart, her vector had to move nearly 1,900 miles per hour. That's over twice the
Oh
speed of
my
sound.
God.
Throw a pen through a guy's skull. Brutal.
Yeah,
And
that's
even
not-
toss this giant boulder.
When compared to this guy, Bando, whom we know is 6 feet tall, we can determine the boulder weighs about 75 tons. Her vectors are also tough enough to block a missile from the Air Force. While the exact model of missile is unspecified, it is fairly large and likely an air-to-surface type.
I bet it's one of the Air Force's SLAMs, or Standoff Land Attack Missile, built off the back of the Navy's Harpoon missile. In fact, a harpoon is used against a different Diclonius at one point. So this beast slammed into her vector at 500 miles per hour with a 1,000-pound explosive yield, and it didn't even phase her. Even without a vector shield, she survived a pretty nasty explosion herself, though it did knock her out.
Impressive,
I feel like his
but how
voice
about
got
the
gruffer.
time she punched
Boomstick, I mean,
through an
I don't know why.
island? A strike literally compared to nuclear
Just a little bit
fusion.
gruffer.
This kicked up a 100-foot tidal wave and a 9.2 magnitude earthquake.
Yeah.
A level so high, there's only been 4 comparable quakes ever recorded.
Her vectors can be
No,
as
that
wide as
explosion is
buildings
big
and
enough, I
reach into
think.
outer
I think she has a
space.
chance.
Except that's about when Lucy reaches her limit.
Right. As a Diclonius,
Well, she does
Lucy
not
has a
need
few
that.
severe weaknesses. Her vectors can be nullified if she's struck in the forehead, or if one of her horns are broken.
Also, if
Oh.
Lucy pushes herself
Oh, I
too
mean,
hard,
that's a pretty
she
big weakness.
starts to melt. Kinda like ice cream out in the Texas sun. It's not pretty. She's just a big puddle of goop with a face, but she's still a total badass, even at her meltiest.
While suffering agonizing pain, she was capable of single-handedly halting a massive military threat, while healing and protecting the person she loved most. Perhaps redemption wasn't so hopeless after all.
Hey, let's watch her kill some more people.
Oh, please, no.
All right, the combatants
Oh
are
my-
set. Let's end this
Ugh.
debate once and for all.
But first, you'd be crazy.
She does have a
not to
chance,
get in
though.
on this deal.
That explosion was pretty
You've
big,
probably
and
heard of
apparently
Blue
she can
Apron,
just
the
do
leading
that.
meal kit delivery service in the U.S.
They didn't say that that was her
Know about
limit.
all
They said the
different kinds of delicious
space,
foods you can make?
the
Like
space-reaching
honey chipotle
arms.
chicken
They said
with
that was her
avocado and
limit.
lime rice.
There's
I
plenty to
can't
choose
really
from,
compare
since
the
they
two,
offer
I
12 new
suppose,
recipes
but...
each week. All you have to do is choose the 2, 3, or 4 that sound best to you, and they deliver it right to your door.
Plus, it's super simple to cook. It's got easy to follow instructions and perfectly proportioned ingredients.
I don't know why that
They're not
spinach is the
GMO,
thing that
and
looks the
meat has
best
no
out of all
hormones.
this stuff
My
to me.
favorite part is feeling like
Anyway,
a master
anyway.
chef, making creative and delicious meals with my own hands. You guys really need to try it out.
It's pretty nice.
I'm just gonna
coming
go
home
out
knowing
on a
I
limb
have
and say
delicious
Lucy's.
meal I can whip up with ease.
So check out this week's menu and get your first 3 meals free at blueapron.com/battle. That's blueapron.com/battle to get your first 3 meals free. But right now,
I don't know, both of them can
it's
catch up to a
time for
bullet.
death
Both of them
battle.
can. I'm going to say Carnage will win. Oh, nice.
Die.
Right off the bat, huh? He's getting frustrated, I can tell. Carnage is getting messed up in so many ways. Carnage is getting so messed up.
You're bleeding. Carnage is starving.
Oh!
Get back.
Bet you're right.
Does it hurt yet? Don't worry. I'll put you out of your misery.
Did Lucy just win? They're pretty big explosions. I don't know, I was iffy on whether or not it would work, though.
KO!
Nice.
First those kids at the orphanage, then Cletus.
I was
Lucy
really
hates dog
unsure
killers,
of
and
if
for
an
good
explosion
reason.
could
Carnage was
kill
a challenging opponent.
Carnage.
It was incredibly difficult for Lucy to deal any lasting damage against him.
He had the durability advantage in the bag, though Lucy fighting as a puddle proved she could take a lot of pain and keep on fighting. Sadly, Carnage came up short in pretty much everything
Yeah.
else.
Right, Carnage was tough, but not invincible. Even his surviving that gene bomb isn't quite as impressive as it sounds, since he had no other feats to even remotely back up planetary-level durability, and the bomb was more akin to a biological weapon anyway. While Carnage's tendrils could pass speeds of Mach 2, Lucy's vectors once reached into outer space. By timing her accompanying monologue and comparing the longest vector's length to the curvature of the Earth, it's clear she reached over 2,400 miles in 20 seconds max.
Way longer than Carnage's 2-mile feet.
All this means the vectors were moving at least 440,000
That's a funny way to
miles per
measure
hour.
it, but I guess
More than 500
I guess you're
times the
right.
speed of sound and 250 times faster than Carnage.
Good luck getting past that. And this was really the biggest hurdle. With Lucy's redonkulous speed and Carnage's healing powers, it all boiled down to one thing. Who could hit the killing blow first? I mean, Carnage could respawn from scraps, so the only way to beat him for good was to totally vaporize him.
And Lucy had the perfect answer to that. Remember that time she hit an island so hard she caused a 9.2 magnitude earthquake and a 100-foot tall tidal wave? Such a feat would require an enormous amount of explosive energy, approximately 31,000 tons of TNT.
I knew it would be a
similar to the
lot.
bomb
I
that
just
hit Hiroshima.
really...
It's literally compared to nuclear fusion in the Elfen Lied manga.
Elfen Lied, it's German.
The point is, in order to beat Carnage for good, Lucy needed to totally obliterate him, and she could do that.
The heat produced within the initial impact of a nuclear explosion can reach temperatures up to
There we
180,000
go.
degrees Fahrenheit, more than 18 times hotter than the surface of the sun. And to top it off, heat was Carnage's biggest weakness. Even if Lucy's explosive force was just a fraction of this, it would
I like
still have
the
been far
little
too
note
much for
there.
him.
She just needed to smack him before he could power through her vectors, which chances were pretty slim for that happening anyway, because there's a bunch of them and they're so damn fast. Hitting Carnage with a big explosion punch was way easier.
Cletus and his symbiote may have had the endurance, but Lucy's space-worthy speed, overwhelming presence, and nuclear strength won the day.
She dealt the carnage needed for a total victory and took the lead. There, I said it right, Wiz. Happy?
The winner
That
is
wasn't that bad.
Lucy.
Pun, I mean.
Thanks for watching, and
Hey,
if you enjoyed
Sam.
the fight, you can get a first membership
Hello.
and watch our commentary
Hello.
by clicking that box over.
You're breaking the mold.
Chad. And if you want battle music from this episode, you can get it in
Thank
the
you,
link in the
Chad.
description below.
Is that like the Gundam? See, we already have Gundam Epion. Is that like the Gundam? Anyway, Gundam versus Optimus Prime. I wish I cared. I do, but I don't. Even as a kid, I never watched the Transformers cartoon. I don't care. Gundam was confusing the last time they talked about it, so I can't say I'm excited in any meaningful way. I guess that's it. This death battle was fun. I liked it. And I just want to say, technically my prediction was wrong. And no, my prediction was wrong. My final prediction was false. But at the same time, I do want to mention I did think of the explosion, I just didn't know if it would vaporize Carnage. I didn't know if it would be enough to actually destroy him. Well, I mean, there we go. It was. I liked this. The research was pretty good. I feel like they did a lot of creative measurements. I don't know how reasonable they all were, but overall, they definitely came to a reasonable conclusion, which is all that really matters, right? Well, I enjoyed this one. I don't know how much I'll enjoy the next one. But if you liked my video, you can leave a like down there. If you didn't, leave a dislike. And if you want to see more videos from me in the future, you can subscribe to the channel. Alright, I will see all of you in the next video. Still recording?